Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunati Ramanachari Yamunati Ramanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janamalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janamalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janamalabha Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamunati Ramanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parabhajikacharya Sto Tadasata His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. BBT founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Pram Sigaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Their most beautiful lordship, Shri Shri Radha Landadishwara Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhaja Maharani Ki Jai. Giriraj Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Shri Jai Nitai Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Thai Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Padaya. Shri Madhavan Nasrani Padaya. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Padaya. Shri Madhavan Bhakti Padaya. Namo Vishnu Padaya. Not the sweet. That's for later. That is for long. Hare Krishna, everyone. So welcome and thank you all very much for attending the Srimad Bhagavatam class. It is a rare soul in this world who desires to hear about Krishna. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yaptali siddhaye, as explained in the Bhagavad Gita. It is even a rare soul, even amongst those who desire to hear about Krishna. It is an even more rare soul who will rise early in the morning to hear about Krishna. So therefore, I would like to express my appreciation and gratitude to all of you who have risen early enough to hear from Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. Before I begin, I would like to seek blessings from all of the assembled Vaishnavas that you see fit to bestow your mercy upon me so that I can speak something both relevant and bona fide from the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Only by the mercy of Vaishnavas is anything possible, so therefore I am seeking your blessings. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be reading from chapter 77 of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, text number 32, and the chapter of this, or the title of this chapter is Lord Krishna Slays Shalva. So before we begin, I would like to first repeat the invocation so you can all follow. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So text 32, chapter 77, 10th canto. Yat pada sevo jatayatma vidyaya. Hinvantyanadhyatma viparyaya graham. Labanta admiyam anantam aishwaram. Kuto numoha paramasya sadgatahe. Yat pada sevo jitayatma vidyaya. Hinvantyanadhyatma viparyaya graham. Labantadmiyam anantamaishwaram. Kuto numoha paramasya sadgate. Yat pada sevo jitayatma vidyaya. Hinvantyanadhyatma viparyaya graham. Labantatmiyam anantam yashwaram. Kuto numoha paramasya sadgate. Someone else, please. Yatma viparyaya graham. Labantatmiyam anantamaishwaram. Kuto numoha paramasya sadgate.
Tatpada sevo jitayatma vidyaya.
Pada sevo jitayatma vidyaya.
Idvantyanadhyatma viparyaya graham. Labantatmiyam anantameshwaram.
Anantadmiyam anantamaishwaram.
Kuto numoha paramasya sadgate.
Yat pada sevo jitayatma vidyayam.
Yat pada sevo jitayatma vidyaya.
Hinvantyanadhyatma viparyaya graham.
Hinvantyanadhyatma viparyaya graham.
Nabantatmiyam anantam aishvaram.
Labantadmiyam anantamaishwaram.
Kuto numoha paramasya sadgate.
Kuto numoha paramasya sadgate. Ladies, please. Jitayatma vidyaya. Hinvantyanadhyatma viparyaya graham. Labantadmiyam anantamaishwaram. Kuto numoha paramasya sadgate. Someone else would like to try? No? Okay. So word for word. Yat. Whose? Pada. Of the feet. Seva. By service. Orjitaya. Made strong. Atmavidyaya. By self-realization. Hinvanti. They dispel. Anadi. Beginningless. Atma. Of the self. Viparyaya graham. The misidentification. Labante. They attain. Atmiyam. In a personal relationship with him. Anantam. Eternal. Aishwaram. Glory. Kutaha, how, nu, indeed, moha, bewilderment, paramasya, for the supreme, sat, of saintly devotees, gatehe, the destination. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. By virtue of self-realization, fortified by service, rendered to His feet, devotees of the Lord dispel the bodily concept of life, which has bewildered the soul since time immemorial. Thus, they attain eternal glory in His personal association. How, then, can that supreme truth, the destination of all genuine saints, be subject to illusion? Purport. As a result of fasting, the body becomes weak and one thinks, I am emaciated. Similarly, sometimes a conditioned soul thinks, I am happy or I am unhappy. Ideas based on the bodily concept of life. Simply by serving the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, however, devotees become free from this bodily concept of life. So how could such illusion possibly affect the Supreme Personality of Godhead at any time? Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militangena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Gena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Mandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patiranam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Verse again. Yat pada sevor jita yatma vidyaya hinvantyanad yatma viparyaya graham labanta atmiyam anantam aishwaram kutonu moha paramasya sadgate. By virtue of self-realization, fortified by service, rendered to His feet, devotees of the Lord dispel the bodily concept of life, which has bewildered the soul since time immemorial. Thus, they attain eternal glory in His personal association. How, then, can that supreme truth, the destination of all genuine saints, be subject to illusion? So, a very powerful and important philosophical statement is being made here. We could probably spend a good 3 hours, 4 hours just discussing this point. The pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam are very powerful and pertinent. As Srila Prabhupada explained, simply if a person reads one word, his life may be changed. So, the Supersoul is present within the heart of all living entities, and that means that Krishna or God is present there in every person's life. So, the Supersoul is perpetually and constantly trying to help bring the living entity back to Him, knowing that actually this is the only way that anyone can become truly happy. So therefore, the opportunity for the living entity to somehow or another come in contact with the process of Krishna consciousness, or a bona fide process of spiritual practice that can bring one back to Krishna, is something that is most fortunate for the living entity. So maybe we've all had some experience, or maybe we're here because somehow or another our paths intersected or crossed with someone or some aspect of the practice of Krishna consciousness that somehow or another has led us here to this moment. So we should be very grateful and feel very fortunate and blessed that somehow or another Krishna consciousness has come into our life. Before that, it is quite likely and highly possible we were just more or less wandering around in the material world thinking we know it all. I could be wrong, but I'm probably not. Because that is the conditioned nature of the living entity, to more or less think that I got it figured out, or even if I don't have it figured out, then I'm just going to keep going until I do figure it out, and then everyone will see that I figured it out, and I'll become famous and be glorified throughout the three worlds because I'm the one who figured it out. This is the conditioned nature of the living entity, and this is what is being addressed here in the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, very nicely, it is being stated here, first, what is the illness, what is the sickness, what is the medicine, what the cure looks like, and then in a sense you could say a deeper philosophical question is then being posed. The philosophical question later being posed that we probably won't touch on much today is that how can the Supreme Lord, who is the goal of genuine saintly persons and is the person who can deliver liberation to those persons, how can that person come under illusion? Basically, the philosophical premise or point that's being spoken against is the Mayavad philosophy that the Lord can come under illusion of the material energy. Means that the Lord can fall into Maya, not Yoga Maya, but Mahamaya. So that philosophical perspective is being challenged here, because it's being said that actually simply by cultivation of knowledge and the development of self-realization, combined with devotional service, the living entity can be eternally liberated from the material conditioned nature and attain supreme and eternal association with Krishna, with God. So therefore, the personality that can do all of that, how can that person become illusioned? Does that make sense? Everyone's kind of still with me here? Am I speaking too fast? Anyone has any questions so far? We're okay to go? All right, let's rock. So, what is the illness? Who knows what the illness is? Anyone here sick? No one's sick? You're all very healthy? Okay. I'm really sick, okay? I'm so sick. I actually think I'm this body. Anyone here thinks they're this body? Of course not. You're all self-realized souls. So I'm just going to speak about myself then, and I'll leave all of you guys out of it. So So basically the illness is that we think we're this body. We think we're this mind, and we think we're this intelligence. And we think that we're the combination of all these things, which is the false ego. But the actual truth is, we're not. We're not this body. The example that's given in the purport is that who here sometimes thinks that they're happy? Be honest. And who here sometimes thinks that I'm not happy? So in the purport it's explained that this kind of mentality is based on the material or the bodily conception of life. Because the spirit soul is eternally situated in Sat Chit and Ananda. It is eternal, full of knowledge, and full of bliss. So the soul is never kind of happy and kind of not happy. The soul is eternally blissful. So if we're thinking, yeah, I'm feeling really miserable today, or if I'm thinking, I'm so happy today, generally that's based on something that has happened externally to me and to my body, in contact with the senses, that is convincing me that now I'm happy. Anyone has ever said, when this happens to me, then I'll be happy? Anyone has ever created that carrot on the stick mentality? Oh, once this happens, then I can be happy. But that's completely on the material conception, not to mention it is highly unlikely that it will happen. Because generally once we get whatever we're striving for, that also tends to make us a little miserable. Then we have to create a new, well then when this happens I'll get happy. So everyone understands this is the illness, that we're thinking we're this body, and we're thinking in connection with this body, the things that I get or the things that I do will make me happy or make me not happy. But that's called illusion. And why is it illusion? It's not illusion because it's not really happening, because in a sense the experience is happening. But it's illusion because it's absolutely temporary. There is no happiness in this material world that is generally lasting. We could do a little thought for a moment to what happiness is there in this material world that we have found that lasts day in and day out without passing or starting to cause us some grief or some misery. We were discussing last night that there's a statement that with our greatest hopes also come our greatest fears. Does that make sense? So those things that we hope for, often it also brings us our greatest fears. Which means in an aspiration to achieve something great, we're almost always going to have to pass through some intense obstacles. Some opposition will be there. Does that make sense? So, in this connection, since we've described a little bit about what the illness is, what is the medicine? What is the medicine that's being prescribed here in this specific shloka? Huh? You know where is the medicine? Where's that?
Japa.
In Japa. In the Japa bag. Where's my bag? Well, no, I don't have my medicine bag. Tablets. Them's the tablets, yeah. 108 tablets. Very nice. So, specifically in this verse, it says two things. It says, by virtue of self-realization. So what does that mean? By virtue of self-realization. What does that mean? Help me out, O great and noble sages. By the process of what?
Krishna consciousness, like what goodness, actually trying to disidentify ourselves from the body, focus on God.
Yeah, okay. So by the process of that Srila Prabhupada has given us that helps us to focus on God and disconnect with the body. The cultivation of self-realization is a process. Generally, the cultivation of self-realization can be understood that we're cultivating knowledge, which is the absolute truth, and then with that knowledge, the cultivation of that knowledge always has to be done under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And then like that, the medicine, just like any medicine, really the best way to get medicine to work is not that you just go to the chemist and pick up a whole bunch of pills. Even if you pick up a box of pills, what do you usually do before you take the medicine? You read the back. So all medicine should be applied or under the guidance of a doctor. So the process of self-realization implies a doctor, implies a spiritual master. Knowledge, someone was discussing the other day that we cultivate knowledge. That's the goal. We just get knowledge. But knowledge isn't the goal. Knowledge is gyan. Our goal is vegyan. We want realized knowledge. Knowledge has to be applied. So just having knowledge in one sense is not enough. We have to understand how to apply that knowledge practically in our lives. Otherwise, knowledge is just knowledge, and anyone can walk around espousing some knowledge. But if you aren't applying the knowledge in your life, then in one sense it may or may not be relatively useless. Does that make sense? So you can have a head full of knowledge. I had one friend, he was a Mensa certified genius. He could espouse any information, any knowledge you wanted about any religion of the world. He was he was a genius. But he was an atheist. So he had so much knowledge, but it was practically useless because none of it was actually applied. It was just like having, I've read plenty of books, but I'm not doing anything with the knowledge that I've cultivated within it. So self-realization means that we have to apply the knowledge, and the application of the knowledge means applying it to my life. Someone once asked Srila Prabhupada, can you make me self-realized? And what did Srila Prabhupada say? No. He said, but I can give you the knowledge and the tools by which you can realize yourself. We can't make anyone else anything. I can't make you self-realized. You have to, as Rasvilas Prabhu was saying so nicely yesterday, you have to fly your own plane. We can have a co-pilot, we can have a trainer, we can have a coach who encourages, or a cheerleader. We can have a whole group of cheerleaders. Go, go, be self-realized. Go, go, be self-realized. But who's going to have to do the work? We are. Each and every individual. This is the process of self-realization. So the cultivation of knowledge. And then in this verse it says, by virtue of self-realization. And then it says fortified. What does this word mean? Fortified. If you fortify something, what does it mean? Yeah, you make it stronger, you make it more solid, you make it more grounded, you make it more indestructible, it becomes fortified. So the virtue of self-realization is fortified by service. Tadvidi prani patena pariprashnena sevya upadekshanti teganam gyaninas tattva darshanaha. That one must try to learn the truth. How? By approaching a spiritual master. And when you approach the spiritual master, what do? You inquire from him submissively. You cultivate knowledge. You cultivate self-realization. And then you render service unto him. So, just cultivation of knowledge, the application ultimately comes in serving. So we apply ourselves. We're hearing knowledge that I am eternally, that, what is the verse? Jivara Swarupoi Krishnara Nityadas. That I am the eternal servant of Krishna. So that means if I'm the eternal servant of Krishna, application of that means I do some service for Krishna. Guys, you always run away right when I'm getting to the good part, Okay, Haribol. So, and then we hear Gopi Bhartur Padakamala Yor Das Anudas Anudas. I am the eternal servant of the servant of the servant of the servants of Krishna, who is the maintainer of the gopis. But we need to apply that. And we apply that through service, by acting in accordance with the knowledge. Does this still make sense? Everyone still with me? Anyone fell off the wagon yet? Anyone need to be picked up, put back on? Does this make sense? Is this too remedial? Is it too remedial for all of you? Is it too basic? Yeah? Does it make sense? Okay. So that's the medicine. That we have to perform service in accordance with what we're being taught, as well as the cultivation of knowledge. That's the medicine. And then what is the result? What does the cure of the medicine look like? Well, here it says, thus they attain eternal glory. So who here likes glory? Anyone likes glory? Yeah? All of you are so humble. Of course you don't like glory, but really we all like glory. Let's be honest, We like to be glorified, right? Who likes to be appreciated? Yeah? Everyone likes a pat on the back sometimes. Say, you're doing really good. We appreciate it. Or if you win this medal or win this trophy or this honor or this certificate and people call out your name and they clap, "Way!" Everyone's like, well, I don't really like it, but really I kind of do, So glory. But here's the thing. But glory lasts for how long in the material world?
2 minutes.
Huh?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah, pretty good. That's everyone. I mean, someone told me the other day, like these film awards. The person goes up, yay, holds up the trophy, or you win the whatever it is, the big football match, World Cup. But it's immediate. As soon as you get it, that's the pinnacle. And from the moment you touch it, immediately the glory is diminishing. It's already diminishing. It's not, that moment will never be captured again. But here what's on offer is eternal glory. Now, it may not be the same kind of glory, but that happiness that one feels in a fleeting, temporary way in the material world is also available on the spiritual platform eternally. Because we can actually feel completely glorious if we take our constitutional position as the eternal servant of Krishna. It's amazing. It's amazing how we can actually find eternal glory. And where is that eternal glory? The Bhagavatam here explains that it is in His, with a capital H, His personal association. So it's in the personal association of Krishna. So again, this statement, personal, is undermining the later philosophical dispute that God is maybe not a person, He's impersonal, and He's able to be covered by Maya. But here it says, we attain eternal glory in His personal association. That's the medicine. That's the cure. That's what that's not the medicine or the cure. That's what a cured person looks like. That's what a healthy spirit soul looks like. Eternal glory in the personal association of Krishna. Who would like to be in that space? Anyone? Sounds like a good program, right? Sounds like a pretty good end. Of course, in material life, we all want to be successful, right? Who wants to be successful? No one? You guys all want to be failures. Okay, well, you're probably on the right track if that's what you want. It's only a matter of time. But if you want to be successful, then you have to strive for that success. So if we want this success, we also have to strive for that. And how do we do it? By first recognizing that we're sick. First step. First step in any illness, whatever it is, addiction or mental or this or that, is that we have to accept that I maybe have some problems. It's a difficult first step. Probably it's the most difficult to just accept I'm sick. I'm really sick. And I need some medicine. Yeah, I need help. Need what? Tablets. Yeah. Japa tablets. I need some medicine. I need help. And then to reach out for that help. Because the false ego is it's so constituted that it doesn't want to take help from anyone, that it wants to be convinced that I am the one, I know everything, it's okay, I don't need any help. No. Right? I don't know if any of you have ever been like that. It's sometimes we can be a little stubborn. Anyone here is a little stubborn? Yeah. We feel like, I got it, I can handle it, I can take care of it. But to reach out and take help it's a difficult first step. But then we take that step and we apply the medicine, then we can achieve ultimately the healthy condition. So that's what we're looking for. Anyone has any comments or questions so far? Anything? Yeah, there's a microphone here. If you could grab that, Jake, go side. Yes, need. People at home, there's 500 people who are eagerly waiting to hear what you have to say, and we don't. There's a button at the very bottom. It's a red button. You hold that down for a second, then it turns on. You can check it. Tap the mic. There we go. Expert. Get on the mic, Mike.
Hare Krishna for everyone. Maybe, I don't know, I ask for what to speak, maybe. Just I want to ask one about japa. I can ask?
Okay.
Before maybe was not when you make japa, this one, how you call? Where you account, only account without japa, your arounds. How you call this small?
Beads. You mean the beads that you count on?
Yeah, you chanting and you just press and you count.
Oh, a clicker.
Yeah.
Okay.
This I want about that ask. Of course, I think who makes that? I think this is nothing. Little bit maybe helps, but this is for me is nothing, because if you're chanting without this one, maybe you can account Krishna how many rounds you, because I don't remember which guru say chanting always say Hare Krishna when is your tongue free, all day, all night, always remember Krishna when is your tongue free. But I don't know, maybe no need to chanting with this one. I think need always to have japa. Of course, sometimes you can't, but japa is more than gold, more than diamond, and who makes that? I don't know. Okay, you can make with that, but you need not all day, not 16 around with that japa. I feel.
Is this a question or a sermon?
I ask, but I speak what I know. But I want to ask you, what you think about that?
Very nice. Thank you for amalgamating that statement into a question. The thing is that when we ask a question, if we already know the answer, then the question is no longer a question.
No, I don't know
So,
answer really,
it's okay.
but I want to know, I know or not.
Well, here's the thing. In spiritual life, Srila Prabhupada said there's perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. Any spiritual practice is perfect. This is a principle, and it can be applied to everything. There's perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. Yeah? So most perfect, because see, you're making a statement, now I'm going to address the statement, that chanting on a clicker is, okay, it's something, but actually, who made it? It's kind of, and then you dismiss it. But I'll tell you a little story. I had a friend, and he was a manager for a business. And he used to live above the business, so it was very easy. He would get up early in the morning, he would chant his rounds on japa beads. Then he would go and do the management work all day, and then like that. Then he was promoted to become a regional manager, which means he had to drive around the whole south of England, all day, 8-9 hours a day. He was driving from one shop to another and doing this service. His rounds went from 16 minimum to 12 to 8 to 4. And then I said, so next stop is 0. And that doesn't sound very good. So how are we going to deal with this? And he was very distressed, very disturbed, because he realized that he was going to have, that he was finding it difficult to chant. He had to leave very early in the morning. He had to go and drive around. Now, there's always a solution. He could quit his job and he could move into the brahmachari ashram. But that's not necessarily for everybody either. You understand? So then he could quit his job and get another job. There's so many possibilities. But at least in the immediate term, in my perspective, was that he needed to be taking the medicine prescribed by the founder acharyas to chant 16 rounds a day and follow the 4 regulative principles. At least chanting 16 rounds. Actually, initially he said we should chant 64. So he lowered it down to accommodate the fact that we're pretty sick and we need to take at least a minimal dose because we can't handle the big dose. Does that make sense? But we should build up to a bigger dose. Now, what I suggested to this person, and I actually had one of those clickers, I gave him my clicker and I said, I want you to start using this while you're driving and just chant. And you just chant the whole time you're driving, and you keep track, and at least you'd be chanting minimum 16 rounds. So he said, okay, he took it and he started doing that. In fact, he found that he had so much time in the car, he was chanting 24, 30 rounds sometimes. And then he was found, it helped to create a situation for him that he wasn't just driving, listening to the radio, or not doing anything, but he actually found that the time in the car that he was driving could become spiritual practice time. Now, is it the best? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's far from the best to be chanting your rounds while driving on a clicker. It's not the best. Is it better than not chanting at all? Definitely. Absolutely. Did it help save his spiritual life? You better believe it. So it was probably, perfect, or a little more perfect, but it definitely wasn't most perfect. But the agreement was that every weekend, when he was at home, he would chant on his japamala, because the best, as according to Srila Prabhupada, is that we chant on our beads in the association of devotees during the Brahma Muhurta time, sitting in one place without moving or interrupting our japa. So that's most perfect. Now I put out there, how many of us do that? Probably none. It doesn't matter. The point is, probably most of us don't. Probably most of us don't even rise in the Brahma Muhurta every day. But to speak of sit and chant our rounds in one place on beads. Also, we should be in the association of Tulsi Maharani when we're chanting. We should be in a sanctified spiritual atmosphere. This is the best. This is the goal that we shoot for. But in the process, we may have to find ourselves not hitting the most perfect, but at least we should be shooting regularly for more perfect. But whatever we can do, however we can do it, whenever we can do it, that's perfect. And that should be glorified. Does that make sense? I'm in possession at present of a gift that was given to me by an amazingly exalted personality. Her name is Mother Jamuna, who passed away, I think, 4 years ago. 3 years ago. Anyway, when the last time she was in London, we were taking her to the airport. And I was driving, and whenever I drive, whether I've chanted all my rounds or not, I always have a clicker on my finger, and I'm just trying to keep the name on the tongue. So I was chanting on this little finger clicker, and she had one of these old silver clickers. Some of you may know, those from the old school, the old silver clickers. And she was chanting on that, and she noticed this finger clicker that I had. And she said, oh, I like that. Where did you get that? I've not seen that before. And I said, well, like this. I can get you one, Mother, She said, no, I want that one. I was like, Mother, this is the one I'm in. And she said, no, I want that one. So she took that one. And then she wound up leaving hers in the car as a gift for me. Because I wouldn't take it but she left it in the car. So I now have that clicker that she chanted on for, I think, 10 to 15 years. Because, her hands had like arthritis, so she wasn't able to put her hands in the bead bag and chant properly. So the best way that she could do was with this clicker, which she kept for 15 years. You kind of getting my point? Japa's the best, but there may be circumstances where we have to chant on another device. It's always best to chant on Japa, absolutely. There's no question about it. That's clear. But we should be very careful before we start to criticize or knock down some other way that people may chant. If they're chanting, it should always be glorified. We should be very careful to criticize. And this tool is helping many devotees continue to chant when they can't chant on Japa or like that. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So we're going to finish here because it's 8:35 now. But I don't know if that made any sense. Hopefully it did. But the point is we should, any devotee who's trying to do some service, chanting or whatever it is, should always be given credit and encouraged. We should become a society of persons who are always trying to encourage. Srila Prabhupada used the term fanning the spark. So we should really become expert at fanning the spark of some genuine or general enthusiasm that we see in the living entity to somehow rekindle their eternal relationship with Krishna. And the only way that we can do that is when we have the support and encouragement and association of devotees who want to see that happen. Everybody needs that kind of support. So really, like Prabhupada said, instead of being a fly to look for what's wrong, we should become like the bumblebee that's always looking for the nectar. We should become like the swan who's, floating on the surface of the nice, clear, fresh lake amongst the water lilies and the lotuses. Not like the crow who is picking at the garbage in the garbage heaps. And I'm not saying you're like that, but this propensity is there sometimes to criticize or think that my way or this way is the best. We should definitely promote the highest, but we should always encourage even someone who's on the lowest platform. So like that. Does that make sense? Anyway, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Rantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Okay, so we have some Sankirtan scores from yesterday, but before I read the scores, just a couple of quick announcements. Reminder to devotees that, tomorrow we'll have with us all day, giving morning class, lunch class, and evening class, His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Maharaj. Haribol! Okay, obviously you all aren't very enthusiastic about spiritual life. So it's great honor and great souls like this come. And then on Friday morning, we have with us His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj.
Haribol!
Haribol! So everyone can please attend or make some effort you can. And on Friday, we will be starting our January book distribution sprint. So we'll have 4 days where we're going to ask everyone to try to do a little something or focus a little bit on book distribution. So from Friday until Monday, whatever you can do, even if you can only distribute one book in that time, then distribute one book. And if all of us do a little something, then that adds up to a lot. So we're trying this year to increase our book distribution over last year. And 2014, we increased probably our book distribution by about 30%. So just by doing little things. So the same mood, if we continue, then for sure we can continue to increase at a gradual and steady pace. Okay, so let's see, Sankirtan scores from yesterday. In Radha's Closet Krishna, we distributed one medium book for 55 Lakshmi points. And in Radha's Boutique, we distributed one book for 135 Lakshmi points. In Govinda's Restaurant, we distributed prasadam to at least 157 customers for a total of 1,355 Lakshmi points. Now on book distribution, one score, Bhaktavayu Prabhu collected 42 Lakshmi points, distributed 32 medium books, one Maha Big Book for 18 book points. Srila Prabhupada's Channel Book Distribution Ki Jai. Okay, so we'll offer our prayer to their lordships. But before we do, we just need volunteers to help serve breakfast prasadam this morning. Any volunteers on the ladies' side? Okay. And volunteers on the men's side? Anyone who can help with serving breakfast? And volunteers to help clean up the temple room after breakfast? Okay, we've got one. Anyone else who can help? All right. So offer our prayer to their lordships. Dear Shri Shri Radhanandaneshwar, Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra, Shri Shri Jai Nitai, and Giri Govardhan, we offer our most respectful obeisances unto you. With a mood of deep gratitude and appreciation, we request your causeless mercy upon us. For your pleasure, if you so desire, we wish to erect a holy place of your transcendental pastimes that will attract unlimited souls to your service and fulfill the vision of your pure devotee Srila Prabhupada for London. Please enable us to cooperate together in order to satisfy you in this way. We, your surrendered servants, humbly beg. New Temple for the Lordships Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.